Welcome in, everyone, to episode 87 of Coffee and Chel, a New Year's Day edition of Coffee and Chel, as myself, Papa, and Padre discuss the week that was in NHL, as well as normal life. And on top of that, what a scuffed intro! We're just doing cold intros now from now on. But yeah, we're gonna talk about the NHL 24 World Championship. Is that starting to heat up? We're gonna talk a little bit about Team of the Year because it's confirmed now. We got confirmation today that as of this recording, nominees will come out tomorrow. So when I post this, it'll be out like an hour later. So we'll find out who the nominees are. But that being said, Papa, how was your New Year's? What did you do?
I didn't do much. I just basically stayed home with the kids, who luckily stayed asleep for the first half of the night. Then by New Year's, two of the three woke up. The two youngest ones woke up, and that was when shit hit the fan pretty much in the house. They're crying. My oldest comes out, "What's going on?" I'm like, "I don't know, man. Just go back to sleep." So I'm sitting there with the two kids. They're both sitting in my lap until 3 a.m. when my wife came home, and I'm like, "Here you go. Here's a baby. Feed the baby."
Oh no!
And then I basically took my 3-year-old, put her back to sleep. It was a difficult second half. The first half was great, but
excellent. How old is your youngest?
Just turned a year.
Oh man! Oh, I didn't realize Landon was only 6 months younger. Okay, fair enough. So we'll chalk that up as not ideal. And Padre, what did you do?
Not a whole lot. We actually went out to dinner with one of my buddies and his wife. So we got out finally to a restaurant.
With a sitter?
No, we took the kids and everything. We just
okay.
they've been cooped up in the house just as long as we have, kind of.
Yeah.
I was the only one that was kind of going out and getting medicine and running errands and stuff for a while. So then like I told you today, we were gonna record a little earlier, but I had to go to the doctor. So I can't shake this cough I have. It's just I have constant tickle in the back of my throat, and they're just yeah, it's basically you just have RSV.
That's tough, bro.
Yeah, so it's just but I got tested for COVID, and I did the flu, because now when you go to the doctor, at least in America, it's COVID, flu A and B, whatever, and then it's no matter what, they test you. So I got tested before I went back to work, because we have 65 employees, and I'm that's the last thing I want to do.
Oh, no doubt.
Other people sick. So I just to be sure, because my dad's you literally coughed 300 times on Friday. I'm yeah, well, I can't help it. I don't know what you want me to do.
Yeah.
So I sound bad, but I feel fine. I went and played hockey Thursday night. I had a hell of a game. And
let's go.
But no, I for 3 weeks off, I felt better than I thought I would. But yeah, just played a little Hut Champs. Maybe talk about that a little bit, the way the game's playing right now with the speed. I personally,
yeah, I'm curious to see what the rest of the player base thinks, because you're always one to.
Well, your weekend too. My bad. I don't want to interrupt that.
Oh, I had every other year OHL teams trade off home games on New Year's Eve, and so the Ice Dogs. When I had season tickets last year, they had an away game. So this year it was a home game. It started earlier at 6, so I had to do the Ice Dogs game, which was sick. It was actually one of the best hockey games I've watched all year. They beat Guelph, which is one of the best teams. And it was fun. And I got home at 10, and my kiddo fell asleep at 11:30, and I maybe made it to midnight. That was, but this is what happens. Children and marriage, New Year's is one of the first things to go, I think.
Oh yeah.
If I'm, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I'm St. Patrick's Day, easily number one gone, and then it's yeah, New Year's is pretty close to be second. So, anyways, yeah. Let's start with that. All right, let's get into your thesis, Padre, because you are just up in arms about.
So right now, I've always said when the game gets faster, the more crazy stuff happens. Whether it's bounces or whatever it is, RNG. And I feel the way it currently is, I put out a tweet, and it was showing the top 100 leaderboard. I mean, I couldn't. That's all you can do, right? You can only sort by the top 100, and there was 600 hits and 20 games. And of course, our buddy Junior Pens was trying to shatter that record for the weekend, and he couldn't do it because he had
600?
King of it.
600, multiple guys with 600, plenty of dudes with 600. I just feel the current way the game plays is, I have no problem with hitting being in the game, the way having big hits and stuff. It's just the inconsistency of it. Cale Makar,
that's 30 hits a game,
and Quinn Hughes are the modern day Scott Stevens right now. You can hit with Makar and Hughes anybody on the ice. It doesn't matter as long as you're skating fast. And I know that I mean, I guess that like makes sense in the sense of like, okay, if you're standing fast, you should be able to hit. But I don't know. There doesn't seem to be like a lot to like height and weight right now that like make it a thing. Maybe I'm wrong. That's how I currently feel about the game. I feel like it's a little much.
I feel like my Makar can blow people up, even if it's like you got like Char coming down the ice. Makar, if you get all of them, you are going to blow up any size dude in the game right now.
Yeah,
for sure.
And it's not a thing like where if it's like a hip check, I understand like you can take someone's legs out, you can take anybody's legs out, but this is like a full on like straight on hit, and that's where I'm having like an issue with it because I feel like it takes away. I feel like it lessens the skill gap when anybody can hit, right? Everybody can hit. It's just like that's where I have an issue with it, I guess. It's just another example of that. And I understand elite edges and tight turns and all that stuff. You can avoid stuff, but it's just, I mean, dude, I had multiple games where I had like 50 hits this week, and I was like, what is going on?
That's pretty good. I haven't really paid attention to it. I'm wondering if, dude, 30 hits a game is pretty crazy. Because not only, if you have, you're looking at the top of the leaderboard too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, that means you have to not have the puck. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like that. So like that's. I wonder if any of those
means
players.
Like every turnover is caused by a hit.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
I wonder if any of those players are like back at you players, because like that would play into it too. I think
I don't think they count. But let's see. I got 328 hits,
no,
so I'm going down.
Well, yeah. I have it pulled up right now. 681 was the highest hits. The guy went 16-3-1. 613, the guy went 17-3. Junior Pens had 567. 17-3. Another guy went 18-2 and had 553. I mean, it's like
you're
consistent.
Just running it, guys. Then I guess like that's
dude, when I watch Pens play, he would just grab his defenseman and just run it no matter what.
The second he will switch to the furthest player back, and then he's been doing that for years though. It's ridiculous.
He'll find you.
It's obnoxious, bro. Yeah, he's like a heat-seeking torpedo, bro. He immediately will just select. Yeah, him and Deli on the rush. I watch a lot of Deli streams lately, and he immediately like. I think that player switching is a skill gap that a lot of players don't have or realize. Like I feel like the player switching is definitely a skill because, if you like, it's hard to be good at it because of the manual thing. It doesn't always work. But if you are good at it, it's pretty noticeable. And like the switching back to defenseman and always landing a hit and being like always just up in your face, it's just like suffocating, right? So that's crazy. I mean, I haven't looked at my hits per game, but like that's nuts.
It's funny. I did see Benny in the chat uninstall. He says, like, I think guys with high hits don't do overly well outside of Dave. It's funny you say that because I looked at your hits, Benny, and he had 130 in 20 games. Like I said, I know Benny DNFs a lot of guys.
Oh yeah.
So it's you, but that's a big from 600 to that. Like that's a big difference. And it's funny, like we always joke about the EU players are very like passive and poke checky and stuff like that. And Eki only had 171. So
he doesn't ever not have the puck though. Like that's you know what I mean? Like he's someone that legitimately is so deliberate. Yeah.
I just feel like I'm not saying I want hits like gone. I just hope that it's just maybe like tuned down a tab where like the height and weight. Like I don't want to see Makar blowing up Yager consistently. You know what I mean? Like that's the problem I have with the game right now. Is it doesn't matter who you have.
Like because like I'll notice it with Makar and whatnot, like it hits, but it's not one of those ones where like Yager's on his ass and Makar can just go and take the puck. Like I notice that when I run, it's like two dudes colliding. I noticed that a bunch. Like
I don't know, and I feel like it even hurts even more this year because of the stamina bar going all the way down. So like if you get hit,
especially if the guy's truculence, like your guy's sapped entirely.
Even without truculence, there's a lot of times like I was watching Pens play, like the entire dude's other team was just dead, like just done. So it's like it's effective for this update. I'll say that, but man, oh man, it's a little much. I feel like
the only difference is right now is like the shove animation. You do just the flick instead. Like that one, like with Makar, that's not going to work on Yager. Whereas if you manage to line up Yager with Makar and you get him directly center mass, I don't know. I guess like maybe in real life you could see like a 5'11"
two dudes at 200 pounds or 180 pounds. Like it's going to be
it's more of like the back checking with Makar and then just like running right to the guy. You know what I mean? Like that's where I'm like, okay, like come on, like you know what I mean? Like so, and like what's funny is like weeks before it was like charging and elbowing and boarding, so it kind of like didn't happen. But whatever, I don't know. It's just one of my things right now. I feel like it's a little.
You might be hooped this year because this is like such an arcadey game that I don't know if they're going to tune that down that much.
Yeah,
like,
it really is.
Initial 22, like,
right.
hitting was like a non thing. It was just poke everything. Whereas in this game, it's just equally, if not more effective, to just run at people.
I mean, dude,
I
you
mean,
see what happens when you do a moment on Superstar and it's arcadey, and like that second that a player gets near you, like a CPU player, they hawk you.
It's a magnet. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. Like you could be like in a decent position, but they will be like a magnet, just truck you over. And it's like, oh, okay.
No,
Right.
absolutely. So let us know in the comments if you're experiencing the same thing. I don't know. I honest to God, I play a much different caliber of player than you guys do. But I don't notice hitting to be any worse or crazier than it is. But
I'm okay with it right now.
yeah. So I actually, to be honest with you, don't mind gameplay in comparison to all the other years that we've had it or the last few. I don't. There's definitely things that could be better, but I don't mind it all. Like as what would you change, Papa?
The AI being player AI being like NHL 23 would make this game significantly better. All they have to do is just let the AI players play exactly how they did in 23, and a lot of these problems like I addressed last week would all be gone. It's new problems and just that came from this game. It's like the 2-3 offense where your forward rotates back to being a D-man and never comes back down on his own.
And then they do in the umbrella.
Your two D-men are like, I'm going to go for a rush right now, and they're your first two guys exiting the zone. Or those step-ups when you're like coming back on defense, like those are annoying.
That's gotta be fixed. They gotta fix that.
You know what's funny is like I put up those videos about like using like overload and like having like I don't know if you saw. Oh no, we talked about it, so I don't know. Defenseman, like overload is really, really good when your weak side defender, so like the guy that's not on the side with the 3 players, will creep into the slot. But when you're playing online rivals, it like will the odds of your defenseman actually coming up into the high slot, like they won't. I don't know what it is. Like in practice mode, I can get it immediately because that's like where they're going, right? There's something. It's like 2 like magnets, just like banging.
I'm running 110, and that weak side guy will come down.
One like cycle shoot, like 10.
Yeah. So like one on like I can't remember it's like one. The top one's 1, and the second one I think is shoot, which is 10. That makes them come down a bit.
Interesting. Okay, well I'll give that a go too. But the AI is definitely a little frustrating for sure. Yeah. So, anyways, let us know what you think about the hitting in the current state of the game. But let's talk a little bit now about the NHL 24 World Championship as we're about to get our first event, the qualification for the All-Star Open. So I will be in Toronto, and 4 people will be joining myself and whoever else is involved in the event in Toronto, which is a nice for my travel. I got to be honest with you, not having to fly 4 or 5 hours wherever is nice. So nice little train ride up to Toronto. But you guys are going to try and compete, I'm sure, correct?
Yep. Why not?
What do you think about the event and like let's talk a little bit about it. So for anyone that doesn't know, the All-Star Open will be fully online qualifier, so it'd be like a hut champs. You will see in Hockey Ultimate. I think you had to register by New Year's Eve.
You have to register.
You had to register by New Year's Eve, and it'll basically you'll get a collectible, and then there'll be like an event in game like hut champs, and you'll be able to play. And whoever gets the is it the 8th highest on Xbox and PlayStation? Will then enter a bracket stage, and then they'll whittle themselves down to 4. I'm not sure if it's 2 on each console. I don't know if you guys know that. But anyways, 4 people will be joining me, like travel and everything like that. The event is really fun. I did the All-Star game last year and the year before, I think. No, this would be my second All-Star.
This is the second All-Star.
This is my second All-Star.
There's 8 people from PlayStation and 8 from Xbox.
That get to the bracket.
Personally, I would like to be set up like a combined leaderboard. That way, it can be 14 Xbox guys and 2 PlayStation guys, or whatever, 10 and 10. Just whatever you want to come up with, right? Like I feel like it shouldn't be. I don't think we should be allocating spots for consoles because the problem is everybody in God's name on Xbox keeps the crossplay on because everyone knows about the console advantage. I'm just going to put it in air quotes because there's no factual way to prove it 1,000% other than playing the game. And I'm sure there's a guy on Twitter that does like these like input delay tests that I'm actually trying to get to do it for us.
That'd be cool.
It'd be interesting, right? Yeah.
100%.
So, and then you have the PlayStation guys that literally just turn off their crossplay. warranted. I get it, not knocking them, but they can turn off their crossplay, avoid all the Xbox guys, and get top 8. It's just another mechanism about this tournament that just kind of grinds my gears. And this is on EA, and they're, and then it's also like it's like a little bit of both. It's not like I'm not like trying to like trash them. It's a little bit of just people not like. I feel like the guys at the NHL, they don't obviously play the game, so they don't understand like what all this goes through, right? And then the people at EA don't really probably care that much about this tournament in terms of like how it's run competitively. So I feel like it's a little of like both. The issue I have is like I said, that people can turn off on PlayStation, and then you have like obviously the thing that's out of their hands, which is funny because in the rules it says like there's no forfeit or like dodging, manipulating, like all these like little things. It says in the rules like you can't do that stuff. We all know there's like 1,000 discords and different things that just make it so it's not. I kind of made a joke on Twitter earlier. I called it like the best, like the NHL find a loophole to qualify championships is what I called. Like that's like I feel like kind of how it is. It's just kind of goofy to me, like how it's set up with some of that stuff. But especially the All-Star game, like I feel like having the 8 spots. Like I said, I don't know if I like that, but it is what it is. It's the way it's set up, So we'll see.
It's super interesting because like you're gonna have guys that get to like being like 23-1. They don't have the points, and they're gonna have to start sniping each other in order to get the points to make it in. It's like there is no room for error on this. Which for the guys like me, like I'm not coming top 8. It's not happening for me. Like I don't like All-Star game is content to me. It's gonna be just stream it. It's pure content. Like if I don't qualify, oh no, it sucks. Whereas the guys that are like supposed to qualify for those tournaments and that are actually favorites, all the pressure is on them to act like to not like lose 2 games. Like if they lose 2, it's over. Yeah, I can't imagine because realistically, I think it's really like there's a difference between going 20-0 every week on 20 ping search versus going 25-0 or 24-1 on 40. It is so much different and so much more difficult that every year everyone goes, okay, well, like 23, because it was always top 16, right? 22-3 would get you in. Last year it did it on Xbox. Like half the guys that went 22-3 didn't have the points in open quals. So it's I think it's just gonna be fun to watch to see it near the end when it gets to Sunday.
That's my favorite part. I think
people are gonna have to wait. People are gonna have to wait, especially if they lose one. They're gonna have to wait and see where they're sitting in the last couple hours to play their last games, and they're gonna be like, "Well, sorry guys, I guess we gotta play each other."
That's my favorite part, man. When you get down to like the final final couple hours, there's nowhere to hide. Like because it's 25 games usually when it's an NHL event. Like you get so separated from like the pack that when you get to that point, like there's no playing someone that's like 14-12. Bad math. 14-8, right? Like there's no you just sit there for 3 hours. So the only way is if you end up just playing someone that you don't want to play, which is fun. Like I enjoy watching that. But no, I love that aspect of it because it makes it so like nerve-wracking. The one thing obviously is like because it's all online. And they do have something in like some things in place to stop manipulation, but you can never truly stop all of it because you can't prove, certain things, right? And like dodging and things like that. Like you can't prove it. Obviously,
the only way is if you do what Leafs Gaming did the first year, where you do EOL and you do search games on a website. So whether
it's too hard.
But it's not though. It's not because World Gaming's website had it. And these websites are way more advanced than World Gaming's website. No offense.
They want Joe Schmo McGee from Missouri to be playing in it,
No,
but that makes it so much harder for them.
They still will play in it. It's just they're not going to keep playing once they start getting crapped on, pretty much.
It depends if there's packs
involved. It's another layer to it. It's another layer of difficulty, another barrier, and people go, "Ooh, I got to sign up for more stuff. I got to go on this website to even find a game. That's too hard."
Well, Madden does it.
Let's think of it this way: it takes 2 rounds where every single guy that's a fraud is gone.
Yeah.
No, I get that. I get that.
By the time you get to top 16, they're all gone. Like realistically, there's not even 16 guys that I think are going to be competing for first place anyways.
Here's the issue I have. I understand what you guys are saying about that. Like I know that you're gonna once you get past that stage, you're gonna weed out like the whatevers. But there's still like it is night and day. It really is. It is night and day. The top end talent, and that's what this tournament is. So I'm sorry to the people that aren't in this, that aren't going to make this tournament. We're talking about top end talent. It is night and day. It is like a 95-5 split right now of consoles from Xbox to PlayStation. There's going to be people that aren't able to get in because so many of the top end Xbox guys take up spots, and then the top end PlayStation guys take up spots, and then you're going to still have PlayStation spots open, you know what I'm saying, or like taken by guys that don't belong because they're turning off their crossplay, and then you miss out on dudes that are way better than them on Xbox. That's what I'm trying to say, and I think that's bullcrap. I think that's bullcrap because of the fact that we have these like little, we have these little, you know, loopholes in place where turn off the crossplay, and then, you know, oh, we have spots designated just for PlayStation. And I will say this, when Owe comes on possibly next week, Least did the same thing. They gave 2 spots for PlayStation, 2 for Xbox. So, you know, that I'm just saying, like, I want it to be the best bracket possible, the best players. I don't want to have like any guys missing. That, you know what I mean? That and I get like it's like you got to show up and play, and you got to play good. I just don't want like dudes not getting in because, you know, I mean, I've seen like a lot of PlayStation dudes like literally just like laughing at the fact like, ha ha ha, I'm just gonna turn off my crossplay and I'm gonna get in, and it's like, yeah, like you could say it's like a loser's mentality, but it's also true. So I don't know. I mean, that's right. I agree with you, Brett. I know it 100% what you're saying, and Sleaze, I get what you're saying. Once you get past round 2, they're gone anyways. I get that. I'm just talking about the dudes that don't get in because of the other people.
That's so what would be your fix?
That's what I said. The only fix, well, the only 2 fixes, and this is on EA's end, get rid of the turn off crossplay feature. That's one. And then the other one is on the NHL's end. If you can't do that, the other one is utilizing these websites that they're paying money to use, Rivals, and what was the one called last year? Battlefy. They have capabilities on these websites to do like the search games. And I understand what you're saying, Brent, how it's like, okay, I got to go on the website. People will do it, though. They will. People go on these websites to sign up. People go on these websites to sign up for the club championships, the All-Star game. They set up their accounts. We have 4,000 signups for the All-Star game. So 4,000 people took the time to go on there and do that. Mm-hmm. I think if people knew, and like it's kind of goes back to your point, Sleaze, where you used to say back in the day, we're giving you a free tournament, right? And it's like, you can't complain if you have to put in like a little effort or a little this or a little that, right? I get that. But that'd be the same like mindset if, okay, I got to go on a website and hit a search button and, oh, I got Papa. All right, cool. I got to type in player friend Papa. You have to do it anyways in the bracket.
Here's what you're like. So that I can agree with. I think that yeah, it's the packs, right? Like those 4,000 people that signed up. You're right. Like 3,900 all go in with the thought of like, okay, I'm not going to qualify. But they're going to packs. The second that you do that, like the search thing, I think for a competitive standpoint, that is the ultimate in terms of competitiveness. It's just I've said this for years now, like especially with working on the event. Like there's just too many pillars to there's too many pillars to try and make happy.
Well, think about too. There's one other thing we're not thinking of too. With that many people, you also have to submit your games, right? Think about the people.
Oh, the admin.
I didn't lose, and like all of a sudden this admin is going to be all over the map, dealing with all really of high. These. It would be a nightmare. Like it happened to CAD last year, I think it was, in one of the tournaments where I'm not going to give the guy like time of day. I'm not going to say his name on here, but this moron decided, even though he lost, he submits that he won, and someone asked him, "Why did you do that?" He goes, "Why would I not?"
Yeah. Well, it's like. Yes. You're
going to have 100 morons doing the same thing. It would just be an absolute gong show.
Well, and like once again, that just goes back to, like I said, that I think it's more on EA just to turn off the cross. And you said a great point earlier, Brent, and I don't know how that works. Have a thing where it fades your search if you don't have crossplay on. So we know right now, if you put in the rules and you put it in a big bold letters on top, you must keep crossplay on. No one's going to follow that. They're still just going to keep it off. They have no way to determine who has it on and off. So, yes, like, taking that away, I talked to somebody at EA, and I'm like, well, MLB The Show has – I don't understand why these games have that as in the game. They're like, well, theirs is because, you know, they have the Switch, which I understand that. Because, like, if you ever play MLB and you play somebody on the Switch, it might be the easiest game in your life. Because that game, it's not compatible, really, for online play, like playing online. But this game – yeah, I get it. I mean, it sucks, man. I feel bad for people that are on PlayStation. It sucks. It's just the way these consoles are made right now. I don't know what to say, but if we're gonna promote crossplay, that's the big advertisement this year. It is. It's like the back of the box feature for this tournament. We have crossplay, and same with the game. The NHL 2 years in a row, the video game, the EA, they bragged about their crossplay for 2 years now, and it still doesn't work fully like it should. Probably. I mean, me and Sleaze just tested it before the stream, and it was it was interesting to say the least.
It's tough. Like I still don't think the PlayStation thing is an NHL like a EA thing. It's not. It's like a legitimate issue with the console. There's a massive latency. Not massive. It's like just under a second, like a millisecond. But
let's just put it this way: Sleaze got in the game and goes, "Oh my god, this feels awful."
Yeah. Well, we played one that was on peer to peer on 40, and I was like, "Wow, dude, this is like LAN." I was like, "This is we were ripping."
Besides my screen doing the ripping thing, which is anybody out there like in the chat or in the comments? Have you guys ever played a game on? I think it's only on peer to peer.
I thought it was only on Versus. I know it was on Versus. Yeah.
Screen ripping, it's just like I don't know how to describe it. Like the screen's like it looks like it's like stuttering or something. I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah, there's something. Yeah, I remember Eki talking a lot about that. I think there's a fix for it or some way around it, but I've seen it before. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know the ultimate way to make everything fly with trying to make everyone happy with the event. I do love the fact that they brought back the All-Star and the Stadium Series event because I actually think that those were really cool events for the people that like actually got to go. I mean, Uninstalls in the chat right now. The All-Star event was like just like a very fun event for the players that made it. And I'm trying to think back, like the All-Star one, the 4 people that made LAN on All-Star were Deli, Uninstall, Gren, and who's the 4th?
And it's funny. Yeah. It's funny. Benny didn't even like make it because that one kid didn't have a pass, or he was going to Cuba.
Yeah, the passport thing. Oh,
and then Sarah, who beat Gren, he didn't have a passport. And then I think it was like Benny and Gren in the final. Or I don't remember. Like I know Gren
the two
won.
guys that shouldn't have qualified ended up being the guys in the final.
Yeah.
And then this year there's a different
run.
There's a rule.
Different wrinkle.
You have to have it.
Yeah, like there's a different wrinkle this year, right? With Stadium Series, like there's no, it's not. I believe it's not.
I don't think it's for a tournament. It has no impact on the tournament.
Yes, it's just like if you rep the Devils, you rep the Islanders, you rep the Flyers, and you rep the Rangers, you go.
Yes,
that's what I believe it is.
It's so funny because the Stadium Series event, I went last year, and it was in Raleigh, and not a big market, I had never been, and I was kind of, after going, we were just in Fort Lauderdale, like we were in Florida, so it was like the peak of like the entire NHL went. Like we're not just the players, but like the offices, like it was crazy. They shut down like the whole city of Fort Lauderdale. It was nuts. And then so my expectations weren't high. It was the most fun. The event, and obviously that was more of a Carolina thing. It was a very tailgate college football vibes. Like just it was a ton of fun. And the Stadium Series this year in New York with the 2 games, like it's going to be a lot of fun. So you know what? It's going to be a blast watching those 4 club championships, because from my understanding, those club championships, so the New York Rangers, the Islanders, the Flyers, and the Devils, from my understanding, those will happen beforehand, and whoever qualifies those will get invited to the Stadium Series event.
3 of the 4 are land. So Devils is region locked to just New Jersey residents. So Henrique and the boys, you guys have a really good shot. And then Flyers is open also. Islanders is open also. Rangers, I think, is just online. But I think it's like I still think like I agree. Like it's a cool, and like I know some people are gonna be like, oh, like there's no prize. You know what I mean? Or there's not. It's not as cool as All-Star for as a prize. But I mean, dude, you're going to like a state. I mean, at the end of the day, like you could go to an outdoor game for free and you're paid for, and I think it's a good way to, to still keep it involved. What do you think about so the club championships this time, the first and second place qualify now, so they expanded that also.
I think that was very good, because what ended up happening was there was like a club championship, you get one winner, but then open play would give you their opponent, and the issue with that is that, so like you won the club championship, but after that first round, you played an open person. If that person won, then you weren't like it was very like, you know what I mean? Like so the person that was like technically the club champion, the team couldn't really rep, because like if they were like, this is our guy, and then like open play happens, you get matched with someone random, and then that person got eliminated. I don't know how many times, I'd have to go back and look, how many club champions got knocked in the round of 32.
So it's funny. So like I know off the top of my head, Geimer and Saphir, I know, are 2 of the guys that like I'm pretty sure I know Geimer, like 3 of his 4 weeks before he won. Run. he got to the finals 3 out of the
Yeah.
4 weeks, and then he finally got like the 4th week.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure Saphir lost a few like that also. So like those are the type of guys where you're like, okay, dude, if you're getting to the finals in every one of them, you deserve obviously to be in the dance. Like so it's one of those things where rewards it. And then like obviously like the next phase is the open play, which is for like a hut champ style thing. And by the way, anybody out there, I know there's been some confusion. I know Benny, you were tweeting about it on install about round points and stuff like that. It's just like how it was. I don't know why in the rules they put this, like this big like thing out there about all this stuff. It's just hut champs. That's all it is.
Yeah,
it's just hut champs.
Which it's
And
always been
I'm really yeah, exactly. And I'm really hoping that they use the combined leaderboard they did last year. Shout out to Papa, he got first, 24. No, not a big deal.
I can't believe that's so funny.
And they combined the PlayStation and Xbox, which is cool. Even though I know you can still turn off crossplay on PlayStation, but it's cool that it like updated every day, and it kind of kept it so it wasn't just like all here's your 28 PlayStation, because that's if it's still set up that way, that's the last thing I have a question about with this tournament. Is I just hope it's combined for that, because I think that also takes another way of
if it combines it like it was last year, then there's no real issue.
Yeah, it should be no real issue. Besides, I mean, like I said, we're not getting over the crossplay being turned off, but that's the last wrinkle. I hope that's not changed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I think it's funny. We were talking about this the other night. Like, obviously things aren't entirely perfect. It's gotten more complex over the years in terms of the World Championship, but again, that there's just more people to satisfy. Like different like there's the competitor, the NHL, the EA, the clubs. And it's very difficult to. I don't know if they'll ever find a way to without endless money.
They need EA's help.
And it would need to be need to be like 2K, where like they're just together. Yeah, they're just together on it, and that's a significant financial investment. I don't know if the payoff will ever be enough to justify that. But we were talking about like the first 2 years of it when it was like best of once, like single limb, like that was awful, bro.
So
like,
I went over the history lesson with you guys. First year BO1s, you know what I mean? I get within 3 out of the 4 weeks 1 win, but I'm losing in BO1s, right? And it's like you guys know this game's too random to like lose.
It's tough. That's why I'm 23. I knew it would be a new winner because
right. You go through the grind. Then year 2, they announced it was hut a month before the tournament. And anybody out there knows you can't just. I mean, yeah, you could go throw down $1,000 in your hut team, but a month before the tournament, so then you saw some straight up hut heroes, not a chirp. We know that, but we had on stream we had a Fisher Cell, we had a Frog Stomp, we had a we had
Dreezy,
we had guys that were never, we had because they had God squads, and then you got guys like me and Josh Fearless that are like, I'm not spending money. And we were like good at Versus back then. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. And, it made it way tougher. And then the next year is when they finally kind of got it, like, I feel like 100% right, because then they had the hut, BO3s, and then
that was based on COVID.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It would have been so interesting. I say this a lot, thinking back on the World Championship. It just like, the third year was the first time I was a part of the broadcast. The second year I was nothing. Third year I was like the pregame with like tactics. And that third year, had COVID not hit, and they would have had the 3 regions. I think the way that they were doing it was just set up to be really, really well done. And it just stalled like a lot. And then props them for keeping it alive, because like the world kind of shut down, and they had to basically change the entire tournament in the span of like, because remember it was like, didn't the qualifiers happen?
Yes.
Yeah, like
I lost. Yeah, I lost to go to Connecticut.
Yeah, like there was the 8 for North American and the 8 for Europe already done, and they had to basically figure out how to get these games done. And
HK and Regs won.
Yeah, HK and Regs.
And it was one of those things where it sucks for those guys, because it's like some of those guys, they could have got to go to the EA studios and they never, or not the EA studios, the NBC studios.
Yep.
And the Sportsnet studios. So I think like being a hockey nerd, that would have been sick. You know what I mean? So
yeah. No, it was definitely wild back then. I thought last year's, I loved Nashville. I think one of the harder things is that, and what I'm surprised about is they're bringing more people this year. So last year they cut it down to like 4 into the World Finals, and I think this year is 6. And I think there's 8 coming to the region again.
2 EU.
Yeah, like those events for the players that get to go, whether you win or lose, obviously that's important. But like the event is awesome Like it's for the players that get to go because last year was at the draft in Nashville and everything like that, and obviously we don't know where. I don't think we know where the finals are going just yet. But like the ones that have been announced, like
Yeah,
in New York and all like those events, it's gonna be fun. Like they always do a really good job putting that on.
it's 6 guys, right? So
Yeah.
four from North America, 2 from Europe.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I think that it's set up to be pretty fun. I think it's a round robin kind of thing, like they did last year, which is again I think the best way to do it.
Yeah.
So it's over much earlier. I personally love the fact that it's done in April now, like that because of the not because I'm excited selfishly like it's over with, but for the game because the last big peak is team of the season when people are still paying attention, and the game is going to reach its apex tournament like right when team of the season hits. And I think that's something that's been sorely lacking from the World Championship is because they brought it all the way to June, which was awesome because it was paired with the draft and awards. And for anyone that got to go to Montreal or anyone that got to go to Nashville, awesome events for the players, but for the tournament as a whole and like the interest in it, it died down so much because it was so late in the cycle. So gonna be really fun. I'm excited. I know we just talked for about 30 minutes on it, and there's probably a lot of people listening that have no interest in it at all. The thing that you need to pay attention to is that the qualifiers for this, again, will give you hut packs. So even if you're not going to qualify,
Anyone should play in it.
Everyone should play in it.
Sure.
Especially because the amount of people that will just go in and quit out the second they get down by a goal. Like, it'll be the easiest games of your life. If you are in Division 3, you'll never win as many games in a run than you will in the than the qualifiers because it's a lot of players that are in the lower divisions that are just like trying and like you're gonna get smashed by the guys that you run into that are gonna qualify, but for the most part you're gonna be once like your record kind of separates you'll packs are always pretty juiced, so be sure to pay attention to that. The All-Star Open, that one's done. But the open play I think it happens in March. I think you have until like February something to sign up.
So, All-Star closes in 4 minutes, so go sign up now.
Oh, jeez. Okay, there you go. Yeah. And it's only next gen. Yeah, they did move to next gen. I think that was the proper move. I'll be honest with you. The old gen players. This is like a whole other topic of conversation, but like I don't remember a time in video gaming in which we've held on to the prior gen for so long that it's clearly impacted developers, not just EA, in terms of their ability to fully give us a game that's on these gen consoles. You know what I mean? And that too. It was a perfect storm of just bad stuff.
Yeah. I think they have sympathy for people with like, thinking
be.
I mean, which like
I think it's game sales. I think it's game sales. Like they can't lose the game sales. I've also
said it before. I'm like, dude, if you're putting in this many hours in a game and like your team's like a god squad, it's like you could afford to take about 10 of those hours and put it towards working, and you could go buy yourself a new console.
Be an Uber driver.
Be an Uber, very accessible now.
Yes, be an Uber Eats driver. So it's like it's any of that stuff. Like I have no clue. It's just I think it's very easy to get an Xbox S,
with the
which,
argument,
by the way, is the best console of this generation.
I agree. I hated Xbox One, and as someone who like literally has always had the newest consoles for my job. I thought the menus were brutal. PS4 to Xbox in comparison. Game sales, like PS4 absolutely dominated Xbox, like smashed it into the ground. Like this isn't just me being like a Sony truther. I'll be honest with you, I can't wait to play Xbox next year. Like
Xbox made so many mistakes in the launch time that they screwed themselves for the entire cycle.
They tried to make Kinect, which was like 5 years too early. Because Kinect is actually like a Google Home. Like if you think back to it, like that was like it was just too ahead of its time for consumers, and they made you pair it, and it just bricked the consoles and like their ability to perform, and it was just absolutely awful. And I think that comes off of 360 and PS3, where it was the opposite. Xbox 360 dominated PS3.
Ah, what a great console! Yeah. So ahead of its time. Ahead of its time.
That was a great console. But this gen, dude. Like I said, I have loved Sony since I got my first PlayStation 1 in 98, I cannot stand my PlayStation 5. From the controller, which is like a known lawsuit, like funny enough, this is like the Elite controller is legitimately my 15th controller since launch of PS5. That's $90 a thing. I don't pay for every single one because I just do the refund method. But the fact that I'm on my 15th one is absurd. So, and not to mention like the Ethernet issue I had that a lot of people have. I had to get a gold-plated Ethernet cable to fix it. It's just been a terrible console, and it sucks. And it's funny that Xbox One, Xbox Series X is the exact same. It's just smooth. It just runs how Xbox One should have run. The menus are snappy. The graphical performance is better. Like it's just crazy because Xbox One was so terrible in comparison.
It's the size of like a Harry Potter book, honestly.
It is, yeah. It's not PlayStation 5, dude. I told this story before on the podcast, but like when I had to go to Vegas last year, had to go. I went on a trip with a bunch of people from the community, and I knew it was the fantasy event coming, just like based on the timing. So I had to bring my PS5. The thing would not fit flat in my duffel bag that I carried. So like it was doing that thing where it sticks out and it's like awkwardly long. Dude, it was the worst.
It's like a spaceship. That's what it looks like.
It's terrible, man. And Sony's doing its classic thing when it releases the Slim console. It's like, here's the Slim console, perfect. Everyone's been waiting for it. We're gonna make you buy Spider-Man 2 with it, so it's an extra $150.
Do you think it fixes the delay with the Slim, or do you think they don't even know about it?
No, probably not.
I think it's a controller thing, bro. I don't know if it's I legitimately think the controller, I did some looking early on, and there's a thing, if you look on the back of PS5 controller, if it starts, the serial number starts with an A, I believe. It starts with an A. You have a bricked controller that is much more.
I got an A.
Yeah, it's much more prone to stick drift, and issues with connecting. When you're directly connected, it'll disconnect. The C ones that start with a C, from my understanding, are the ones where like they seemingly fixed, or those are like the ones that you would want to get. So it's just like, I don't know what's happened, but there was we saw on Twitter, we found a guy that literally did a latency test on the 4 consoles, like on old gen and new gen, and PlayStation
fighting game.
PlayStation 5 had 0.93 milliseconds of latency on like LAN, and Xbox Series X had like 0.53. Now that's not a lot, but when you consider what is involved in an NHL video game, it's a game where you will notice latency more than almost any other sports game. It may be MLB, like probably MLB is maybe the most in terms of like hitting and whatnot, but you could still probably get a piece of stuff. But yeah, like it's with everything that's involved. For anyone that doesn't believe that there's not delay on PS5, I want you to play a game in Search Champs or Search Rivals, so you're on server, and I want you to one-touch deke. And I want you to tell me if it's instant, because it has never been more apparent than when you try one-touch deke on a PS5, and it feels like it's a second and a half behind. And that's the best way to test it. And
so it's funny you say that. When I went from like PlayStation to Xbox, like trying it out and stuff, I was in such a habit of passing like a delayed pass that I was like accidentally like one touch passing on Xbox because I was like used to like the delay, you know what I mean? Where like an Xbox, it's like bam, and you know what I mean? You hold it down a little too long, and it's like one touching it. It's crazy.
Yeah, and it's nuts because like I said, the PlayStation 5 was like PlayStation has always been my thing, and I thought that after Xbox's disaster on Xbox One, that it would be just another bad console, and it just
So we obviously like went over the GWC. I think we've like hammered that pretty much.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of? Because we have to get our HUD audience here. What did you guys think of the Nations of Hockey MSPs that came out? Because like I thought the second week. I'll be honest with you, if this event came out a month ago, it'd be a banger. Like the amount of sick cards that came out.
It's just so.
I feel like
funny though. Second
it's just
week,
bad timing.
Yeah, like this.
I know.
They know what they're doing,
so
bro.
good.
They know what they're doing.
The Hedman was a must make. Yeah,
Bro,
everyone had to make
S-tier.
Hedman. He is so good. Like he trumps both of the left-handed team builders. Like he's a absolute. Like I don't care. I'll put Mitchell in the third pair. Oh, well, no big deal. But like it's just bad timing. Like Stutzle would have been great. Like even like 3-4 weeks ago, he would have been a great card to make. People would be going like, "Oh, I know Team of the Year is coming," but how do you not go with 94 speed? But now that there's Team of the Year coming, it's just like everyone just knows what's coming. They all gotta wait.
How do we? Okay, let's have this as a discussion before we get into the final Team of the Year stuff, because this is my biggest issue, not just as a content creator, but as a player of the game. And again, I don't play the game for the World Championship like you guys do. Take that away, you're still playing HUT because you're addicted, and maybe you don't want to admit it, and you'll still find a way to play HUT. But that being said, like I played all the way through, and as like a fan of just the game, it sucks that there's 3 events that the whole game revolves around. Like you're waiting at launch for fantasy. Like if you are someone in the know, you start the game. If you spend money, you've got everything. But if you don't spend money, you're saving everything for the first like month for the fantasy event. And then after that's done, you're saving all your stuff for team of the year. And then after team of the year is done, there's about this month where it's like a low. And that's where half the player base drops off, because right after team of the year is the height of its popularity. And then it's like saving for team of the season. And then it's just like, man, it's so boring because it's the same format. Like, though, like you can change it up and dress all the events differently and have them run different, but like in the end, it's those 3 events the same time at the same point in the year, and it's just like it's just lame. And it's been like that for 5 years. So, team of the year, like, what would you guys do to make it where you're not like, I got to save everything for team of the year?
100%. There's that giant lull between like second half of November, first half of December, where it's just boring. They should just randomly drop it December 1st. Like, randomly Wednesday at 11 a.m. kind of thing on like December 1st. Here you go. Here's your team of the year.
That would
everyone's
be
caught off
great.
guard going like, oh God, like, okay, I don't know if I have everything I need. So I think that's like the way
That's
to
the way you
solve
get your most amount of money.
Because I like this last half of this this whole December, like what a drag, because we're all just sitting here waiting for that event to happen, and then we go from there. And then you start building your team off of the team of year cards that you get. So if they drop it like a month earlier, it's even better for the cycle of the game, I think.
My way of doing it is just leaving them in the sets, not having them on a 1-week timer.
They'll never do that though.
But I understand. But what difference is that than on the Lemieux being there all year?
Money.
But you're gonna have your pay pigs. Like, I'm gonna shout out just because we all know him, or 2 people, Nip and Biscuits and Larcenous.
Yeah.
Not this year. Larcenous not this year. He will. They have to have the 99 next to their guy's name. They have to have the sexy card. They have to get that. They have to get it right away. They cannot wait. There's been so many times I've sat and talked to them, and they're like, I'm like, yeah, just wait like an hour and put a bid in. He can't. He's got to go get it right now. And there's people that will do that every single time, even if the set is there unlimited time. And if you want to make it so it's even more like an elusive card, then bump the overalls even up even more. Make them 97s. Make them 96s. I don't know. So that's how I would fix it, where then people wouldn't be like hoarding and waiting for this and waiting for this and hoarding and hoarding and hoarding. You know, that's the way I would do it.
I'll be honest with you, like business wise, like I understand like leaving them in there and you're still gonna get the pay pigs to buy them immediately, but it's not the whales. It's the fact that it's only 1 week, and the guys that are on the fence of spending money will jump over the fence.
FOMO guys,
because
those
that's
FOMO
it.
Guys,
Like,
where they only say, oh no, if I don't spend my money now, I don't get my cards.
This is my first year as a full free to play guy, and as a content creator, gives me a little bit of the willies that I'm only going to be able to get maybe 2. Because
I agree.
You know what I mean? Like,
no, I get it. I get it. I'm just saying that's the way to answer your question. That's how I would alleviate the like, you know, like the built like the like waiting around type thing. You know what I mean? Because then a lot of people would have built, like, personally, I would have built Richard Panic, but I just didn't. I don't want to like blow all my powers because I don't know how many power ups McDavid's going to cost. You know what I mean? I don't know how many power ups like whoever gets it. You know what I mean? Like if I get Makar, if I decide to do him, I don't know.
Yeah, like I truthfully don't know, because the event is clearly a moneymaker. It is purely it's not like, it's great content in the sense that I mean, there's no way to say it's not good content, because like I said, the last year, my Team of the Year stream had 4,000 people in there. Like, that's absurd to have that happen. The amount of people that I see it on my YouTube channel, every creator, the second Team of the Year comes out, like, even if you make a talking about Team of the Year video, it is the most watched one on your channel. And it's because, like, it's such a hyped up event that, like, if you made it where they don't upgrade for free, but they had every ability, but then are you as pumped? Like,
No.
I don't know if there's a different way to do it. The only thing I can think of is making it where all of the nominees get master set card art. And then you can, like, making the nominees matter would be a little bit different, because if you made them matter, and so how I would do it is I would give them +1 overall to whatever they are right now. Okay. Like, so they're one overall. They all get the Team of the Year card art, which would be pretty big investment for them, but there's a graphic designer there. And then if they don't win, they still get the treatment of the +3 synergies and all the banger abilities, but they don't go up for free. you could pay for them, like, or maybe
Okay.
they don't upgrade at
No.
all. But like, yeah. See, here's the thing. Someone in chat said there's too many nominees. Anyways, I mean, there's like 20 in total. I think
They
or
do it
maybe
for everybody.
30.
It's just for marketing.
Yeah, it's simply just from.
So then every team can tweet out, "Oh my gosh,
That's
Jordan
it. That's
Kyrou,
it.
might get team of the year, even though we know he's not."
It's a brilliant business decision from a standpoint of that, because I mean, last year it's trending, like it will be trending on Twitter, which is crazy to think that the NHL video game will be trending, and it will be. I can guarantee it, because they hyper focus the team of the year hashtag and everything like that when it launches it. It's very well done in that sense. EA does a great job, like in that, like great job business wise. But I don't know how you improve it or fix this issue, because yeah, you're right. The Nations of Hockey event. Sorry to, in a roundabout way, to kind of come back to full circle. Week 1, like, dude, Ryan Ellis and John Gibson. You're telling me that they couldn't have split those two up to make it a little bit less painful and given us Hedman week
And
1?
Tavares too is
They
not
knew
meta
what
at
they were
all.
doing. They knew what they were doing.
Yeah, because like week 2, I would love to try out like Line, Carlson. I would love to try out
I wonder
the
if
Richard Panik card. That card looks good.
I wonder if we're trapped in the mindset, because what's not being brought up here or talked about is that it's power collectibles that increase them,
Right.
which technically is like set fodder. But power collectibles have no bearing on Team of the Year. And I think that everyone is so wrapped up that they can't make a master set player. But like I talked about this in the video, like you can make a free one, and you should make Hedman at least by doing the objectives. But like, I don't think it's set in stone yet that Team of the Year does not require power-up collectibles. So, like, especially for the Hut Champs guys, although you're going to take packs, like, that's the issue, is that, like, there's no way to get, I guess, power-up collectibles without using your
I would be
cards.
stunned if they did it like that. But yeah, just because the fantasy event was still collectibles. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the only reason.
Yeah. They'll probably go the same exact.
They're gonna,
method with
it's
that,
going to be,
which is
yeah.
So none of you guys made anything besides Hedman?
I have not made
No,
Hedman
just
yet, but I
Hedman.
will. Yeah.
Hedman is he's another breed, man. He's so
Are
good.
you running quick pick on him, or are you running shutdown?
No, as soon as this patch happened, I took quick pick off like Willie and all that.
Oh, because
No
the
longer
intercept,
really
and you
needed.
notice him?
Yeah, the intercepts are now like good enough where I have there's better allocation elsewhere for my points.
Stutzla's X Factor is like really good now with like the update, because obviously it made him go up in overall.
Yeah, all the way to
Real
89.
quick, what's the thoughts on back to like I think the event, like whatever it happened. What's the thoughts on Team of the Year? So like for example, like my situation, I have the McDavid X Factor.
Ugh.
Is it crazy to say? And I did this last year. Like okay, like let's say McKinnon comes out, I want to make McKinnon first, and if I can't make McDavid, then just ride it out with McDavid's X Factor, because
Depends what the abilities on the team team of the year.
right.
are,
Let's
McDavid.
say they give him gold elite edges again, right? And that's what they had last
If
year.
it's
and then
not
gold
wheels, man, there's an interesting conversation to be had there.
And I think gold wheels is just it. And I know everyone's like, well, you're going to be able to, you don't have to upgrade anymore. I get it, but when you think about it, the day of Team of the Year, when you go to building McDavid, you are spending what you're probably going to spend in the future. And I think it's easier to get power ups than almost anything.
It's way easier because you can
like,
skip an event, and all the objectives from the event are power
Right.
collectibles. Yeah.
Right. So like gold UF in the chat, Perelzi would be the only thing that I maybe would like consider, just because I find him right now in this current update. I think the current update, the gold UF, is the only thing that like kind of saves McDavid right now, because he gets clipped a lot right now for me, where he's just getting stumbled a lot because he's like smaller.
You only have the
compared
85 though. I just realized that.
No, I have the 87.
Oh, I was
just
watching
had
the other
that
thing.
on-
But still,
that's-
look at his balance.
I know.
So
I know.
it might be that, dude, because we're getting to the point now where a lot of guys have like 90 body checking and like strength.
Isn't it funny? I do, at least. You look at skating and shooting, and it's like you don't look at that other part of the card.
Oh,
like,
we
I
never
do it.
No.
I never look at like the hand eye and like
Should look at
the
defensive awareness. That
That's
one's
it.
like huge. Even on forwards, that
Yeah.
one you need to look at.
Defensive
It's just
awareness
so-
is the one that like, yeah.
I would love to like. It's just hard to quantify. Like speed's easy to quantify, right? Because it's like you can like feel it. The defensive awareness, you got to like really like look into. You know what I mean? You have to like pay attention more. It's like one of those things. I'm not disagreeing with you, Brent. I agree with what you're saying. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying like it's easy to feel the speed difference. Like when you get like an upgrade, you're like, oh wow, he's flying now. But yeah, I'm interested to see. Like I don't think it's a horrible idea. Like B-Web said in the chat that his X Factor is better than his team of the year. I did it last year, and I was fine with it. In the end, you know what I mean? So
Yeah,
I might do that again this year if it's. Dude, how sick would it be if they gave Jack Eichel a team of the year because he had like a nasty playoff?
oh
And then
man, that card, dude. It's so funny, chat. For anyone else that hasn't tried it yet, if you get Jack Eichel in a reroll, just give
Unreal.
him a go. It's nuts. It
So
is the
good.
biggest confirmation that the 5 dudes that have a custom Stride, it just does something because he does not play like his stats indicate at all. Offensive, Critical in the chat said, I don't know if offensive awareness affects positioning or not. Offensive awareness impacts your ability to pick up a loose puck. So it's not as important because defensive awareness is by far the most important. It's probably the most important non-speed attribute. Because if you have like 80 defensive awareness, you're never intercepting a pass. And think of often you barely intercept passes anyways. So like that, it's definitely one of the more important ones. But you bring up a good point. With Team of the Year McDavid, if he does not have gold wheels, there's a very interesting conversation to be had about his X factor because it depends, especially for no money spent.
These are for guys though that managed to get his X factor for free through but like for guys like me, I never pulled him.
Either
so
did I.
I'm basically
You have
to make them. Yeah,
you have to make them.
That's the issue. Yeah,
I guess that was a bad way. But you know what I mean. Like so, it could apply to Makar too, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it could apply to let's say Quinn Hughes gets it. Those are the 3 X factors that I have that we can for sure say maybe have a really good shot at getting it. So like
one of Quinn or Hughes will get it.
What would Makar have to have for you to go?
Or Quinn or Makar.
Okay, like you know what I mean. Like if he doesn't have goalie edge, what does he have to have for you to go? Okay, I have to make that team of the year because he's got.
Quinn Hughes is a very difficult one. They'd have to give him some super whack abilities that don't actually pertain to him. Like
he's not shutdown.
He needs truculence. Yeah, you need something to be able to hit, or else he is for me like. Any comp player will not build him.
That's the thing. Like you will notice,
unless they're a straight line guy. You know, if you're a Quebecois, you know, you love your putain, then maybe you might build him with your straight line 2 ping.
Listen to you with 4 ping on West. My God, dude. My God.
Nah, that's double the ping. I get 5 ping. That's 2.5 times more ping.
I guess you're not wrong.
You know, it's different.
Dude,
West ping's different.
No, so the 3 defensemen, we can all agree that it will be 2 of Hughes, Makar, or Carlson, unless they go way off the board, and it could be done. But or Heiskanen, I guess, but I really doubt it.
That'd be crazy.
So it's 2 of those. It's 2 of those 3. Those are among the least impactful as the game gets later in the year in terms of defensemen. Makar and Hughes are so impactful early on because they're so much faster than everybody. But as the speed catches up, they lose their impact. They lose their ability to be better, and you see that like when Hedman comes out. So you will definitely get a sense of how much this is a marketing event if Makar and Hughes come out or Carlson come out and they have one of them has truculence. I guess there's a case where you could say Makar has laid some big hits in his career.
He could get truculence.
He would be the one.
He's had some step up hits that are like stunningly huge. Where he goes on those inside edges and just cuts up and just blows people up. Like that's one of my favorite things about the guy in real life too. And now that you can do it in game with like where you hold back your stick and you step into him and blow them up. That is like what he does in real life.
When you charge up.
I just think it's like a 2 or 3 time a year thing, though. I don't think it's.
That's the thing, though. Like, but you could still it's in the realm of possibility. Carlson and Hughes are not blowing anyone up, like ever.
Yeah, I just.
Quinn Hughes will come up and tickle you or something. That's all he can really do. There's nothing he.
I bet you any money the way they get around that is to give him silver shutdown, which is
they could
because it's so vague and like technically any good defenseman should have shutdown, like just by the definition of it. So
if it's Carlson, Hughes, or Makar, are you making any of the 3?
They have to. You
bodies aside, just their bodies.
I'll go my situation first, and then you can go. Papa, you can go because you're complete opposite end of the spectrum. So as a no money spent player, let's handle not having McDavid first. If you do not have McDavid's X factor, that is where everything goes because he is always the fastest. He is always guaranteed to get 99 the first or very, very soon after. He is going to be his abilities are always unbelievable, and he's the fastest skater in the game, even when everyone is at the same. So if you're free to play and you do not have McDavid's X factor, then that is where everything goes. And after that, if it's McKinnon, there is no way that they make Hughes or McCarr or Carlson better than what McKinnon's card will be.
Right.
It's the third person. If you can make a third one, then there's a conversation. Because if the third one, that's why I tweeted this out. I think the third one is interesting because the third forward is not a gimme. Like it is one of Pasta, Draisaitl, Kucherov, Kachuk, and like there's no like I think it's I personally I predicted Pasta because he has the most goals.
Yeah.
But Leon has more points. Kucherov has more points, I think. So it's very interesting how they're gonna do that one. But if it's Pasta, like he's behind McKinnon. So that is the point. If they have to give shutdown at least for me to consider blowing 1 million coins in value almost as a free to play player on Hughes, McCarr, or Carlson.
Would you guys make Olmark?
Only if
I
you
would
have...
make him. I'm gonna buy him
Yeah,
because if he's bad, I can always sell him back. Whereas if he's untradeable and he's garbage, I'm like, if you lose faith in your goalie,
that's the correct play.
Then it's over. It doesn't matter the stats. It doesn't matter the abilities. If you lose faith, it's in your head. It's over. And if he's rotting on my bench with like 800K in value, can't have that.
That is 100% the right play because what'll happen during the week of Team of the Year is that people will pull them tradable and they will sell, and almost all of them will go for under 1 million, other than McKinnon and McKinnon and McDavid. Those two will never go under 1 million. If you do, that's an instant buy. Don't think about it, right? But the other ones, they will. Like, you will see them go on the market and start to slowly fall. Allmark will always be the cheapest, assuming it's Allmark. Like, the only other person that could be is Swayman, and he didn't win the business. So if it's Allmark, like, you will see him go for like 800K, and what Papa said is the correct thing. Because that goaltender, if you buy him or make him, that is your goalie no matter what. Like, even if he sucks for you, you cannot get rid of him if he's untradeable. You put in 1 million coins.
Or it turns into a really expensive synergy plug as your backup.
Yep. And there will be dudes that do that, by the way.
Yes, there will be.
All right. So let one last touch on what we think our Team of the Year is going to be. Actually, before we do that, what are you guys doing to prepare for Team of the Year real quick?
So I basically got enough fodder to do 3.
Okay.
And I'm trying to get enough coins to buy Allmark because my plan is I am not going to be doing Quinn Hughes if he gets it. I'm not doing Carlson, so that's
no matter what.
One player. It's pretty much for me, like no matter what.
If
like
they get
right
Truck?
now, still no.
Okay.
Like, I'm still gonna stick with my Hedman. I'm like my right side. I'm stick with Hedman, Regier, Mitchell. I got no room there anyways. Eventually, but I'm sure they'll send out another Hedman kind of MSP at some point. And then on my right-hand side, it's McCarr, O'Coin, and Doughty. So I don't need more defense right now. Like if McCarr gets gets his Team of the Year, I'll upgrade him because he's an untradeable X factor for me. As for like the forwards, though, I'm basically like it's like those 3 are like no matter who they pick, I'm just gonna make them. It's pretty much like just
even Cooch. Even Cooch.
Yeah, well, like Cooch, if he gets it, he's just gonna play like most likely like Jack Hughes. He's going to probably have a little bit better balance. He's going to have around the same speed. He's going to have the max shot. True. And I like how Hughes plays in games. So, and this whole meta right now is just straight line on your wing.
Man.
Just all straight line. Like, and Cooch will fit right into the meta 100%.
You know what's funny? He's going to get silver 1T or maybe even gold 1T. 1T works. You can score a one-timer with 1T.
Yeah, it does.
It's the only way to make it work.
Yeah, which is so ridiculous.
I think it'll be Allmark. I'm going to go Erik Karlsson because they've never snubbed a Norris Trophy winner. And until they do, I'm just going to say that. And you know what I mean? Because until they do, they do. And I'm going to say McCarr, even though I don't think they should do that because they've been promoting his 99 in the game since day one. And I'm going to say McDavid. And I'm going to go McKinnon. I'll say Kachuk for fun, but what I think it could be, I mean, dude, I still don't know how they snub Leon, but I mean, they'll probably snub Leon because it's the same team. So I'll probably say Kachuk for fun, but then for real, I think it'll be Cooch.
Okay. And Pablo, who did you say?
basically the same thing, except for like the third one. It's like the third forward is just the most difficult one.
It
I'm
is
gonna
very
go
difficult.
with my boy Jack Eichel. I'll be the third one.
That would be
Love the
You're
boy.
wishful
sick.
thinking, brother.
That would be sick. That would be
Yeah,
fun.
he's the man.
Dude,
I love Jack.
yeah, I think it's McKinnon, McDavid, and Pasta. He's the most goals. I think it'll be Pasta, and then I think it's Carlson and Hughes. I don't think McCarr gets it, and I think Olmark is the goaltender. That's my.
So none of us will
final guess.
None of us will make Hughes then, huh?
No, like left's like no, I
They
won't.
did
Like,
something weird like gold truck on him, which would just be like just the
Yeah,
silliest
like,
thing, and
yeah.
so it was so incorrect. They will never do it, so there's no chance I make him.
unless you were like a fan of Hughes, and there's a lot of crazy Vancouver Canuck fans, like it just it's such a high investment to put yourself at a disadvantage. And it's not
Yeah,
like
I
he'll be
agree.
bad. It's just that like once he's in his own zone, like there's like nothing to
No,
like
for sure.
there's nothing you can do about that, right? Like it's because like
Oh,
right now they still have a lot of like value because like dude, you get McCarr on a straight line, like he's just see ya, like
zoom. Yeah.
yep, that's
Yeah.
it, man. So
Well, that was fun.
that was
fun.
good. I'm excited. So we'll see how right or wrong we are. So as of this recording, in about 12 hours, they should release the nominees. I'll see if there's any snubs. And then, in the next week's episode, my new goal, Tuesday morning at like 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. 10 a.m. 10 a.m. is when I'm going to release a podcast every week. So that's the goal, is that Tuesdays at 10 a.m. It'll be on Spotify and on YouTube. And right now, we did this one live on Twitch, which was fun. So thank you for everyone hanging out. And boys, we'll be back next week to talk about Team of the Year. Have a good one, everyone.